Hi, this is Shotgun Tom Kelly, and now that I have your attention, you wanted to be close to him in the dugout during his impressive 15-year Major League career because he was always watching, listening, and looking for an edge. Now, Kurt Bavacqua brings that edge to Dirty Kurt's Dugout, where you can listen, watch, and be a part of the most honest, informative baseball show available today. Now, here's Kurt.
Well, I have to admit, I was looking forward to today's show, not only because of the fact that I'm going to get to chat with my good buddy for a few minutes, but getting back with you folks after the All-Star game, thank God that behind us. Wow, it's way too long for me. I don't know about you, but it was way too long, especially that red carpet deal that they had. Now, I loved it when Kate Upton walked down the red carpet, but that was about it. They could do away with all the players. I'm glad it's over, but I got to tell you, did you know that Julio Rodriguez earned more finishing second in the home run derby than he will this entire season with his salary, his $700,000 salary, by the way. But Julio Rodriguez earned $750,000 for finishing second in the home run derby. Not a bad payday. Well, as advertised, three-time world champion, one time, and we're going to talk about that, one-time manager of the year. I don't know how that happened, but it should have been at least 3 or 4. But Bruce Bochy, my old friend, my old partner, my old teammate. Boch, how are you? The last time I saw you, you were in a little bit of a walker.
I'm doing well now, Dirty. I tell you, I'm back golfing. I had a knee replacement since you've seen me. My catching days caught up with me. I didn't catch a lot in the big leagues, being a role player, but I did play 5 years of winter ball and between high school, college, and the minor leagues. I'm big for a catcher too. That's 240 pounds going up and down. I know you're going 240, my tell. You're heavier than that, but anyway, I'm good. I'm good to go.
So, are you out playing golf now?
Yeah. In fact, played yesterday, and my game, it's never been real good, but it's good to get out with my son. He's always wanting to play, and so I said I'm gonna pick it up again. So just give me a little bit of time. I'll be ready for you before long.
No, you're not be ready for me. I've gone backwards. I don't hardly play anymore. So you've been out of the game now 3 years. What do you miss the most about being in uniform?
Probably as much as anything, just walking in the clubhouse, to start the day, and seeing the players, the coaches, and everybody. You become a family, as you know, and so that camaraderie, just hanging around the fellows, the training staff. I spent a lot of time, hanging and talking with them. I miss that a lot, and of course, once a game, once it starts, and but it's well, that's even changed. Now in the National League, as you know, they knocked out the DH, and I was disappointed to see that, to be honest. I know a lot of people didn't want to see the pitcher hit, whatever, but I just thought, it's a better game that way, more strategy. And it was a lot of fun trying to get those pitchers to a point where they could help themselves, whether get a bunt down, maybe slash with them, or like Bumgarner, hope for a home run. So, it's a different game.
Well, you had some pitchers up in San Francisco that could swing the bat okay, so you were a little spoiled.
Yeah, you know what, though, Kurt? We take pride in that we worked a lot with those guys. We spent time with them. Flannery, he would get them down there every day. I mean, it was a long day for those pitchers working on bunts, and he had the short infield we have in spring training where it's just a bunting field. And he worked and grinded those guys. We had a guy I mean, we had guys like Zito and Lincecum who had no clue on hitting. I mean, they never swung the bat, and they got to a point where you could do some things with them. You're not asking them to hit 300 or get a sac fly or something like that. But hey, if you want to put them in motion or get a bunt down, like I said, just something small to maybe help yourself. And you know what? You get in that sixth inning, you're a run down. Hey, your guy can't. If he can't help you to play it all, you're probably going to pitch hit for him. So I think they understood that how important that was. So it was fun preparing those guys.
So there was a lot of speculation here in San Diego, and a lot of people here in San Diego haven't seen you since then, about the possibility of you coming back to manage San Diego before they hired Bob Melvin. Is there anything going on where you might be putting on a uniform, say within the next year or so?
Kurt, I've said this. I'm not going to rule anything out. The right situation, right fit. I feel better than I've felt in probably 10 years, because I've had the hip done, I've had the knee done, so I just feel really good. There's so much of the game you miss. So, if the phone rang and I thought it was a great fit and they thought it was a great fit, sure, I think I would listen. I'm still working, doing some stuff with the Giants. In fact, I'm getting ready to go watch our 2A ball teams and our AA club. And so I'm staying busy with it. I'm getting ready to go to France. I told them I'd help them out in the WBC back in 2020. Well, it got canceled. Well, they called and said, you still on board? And I said, you know what, I am. So if I can go over there and help promote the game and maybe help France qualify for the first time ever, we'll have fun with them. My brother, he'll be with me. My son will be with me. So it's going to be a family deal. But to get back to your point, you never know.
Hey, you are going to put on a uniform in the next year if you're going to help with the team in France.
Right. I leave September 14th. I only had 5 days to work with those guys, so that makes it tough. Where 2020, I had been in Tucson for a whole spring training, and we were pretty good. I mean, I had a guy, Steve Smith, who and he lives in San Diego. He's my third base coach, Ron Wotus, and so this year it's only a few days, and then we go to Germany. It's just outside of Munich, and we play Great Britain, Czech Republic. Germany, and so if we're one of the top two teams, then we go to the next pool, and if we get through that, then we qualify to play in Miami.
I want to ask you something about being a manager of a major league team, especially in this day and age. I saw where a player, and it doesn't even matter what team he was from. I just want to give you an example of what something like this could possibly do to the clubhouse, where he's a starting pitcher for a major league team who has an established catcher, if not two, one of them being a catcher that catches this particular pitcher every day. And it came out in the media, and I know the media's got their little thing and not likes to stir it. But it came out in the media where this guy whispered to Wilson Contreras that maybe this won't be the last time we work together. Do you think that's going to cause any upset in his home clubhouse?
You know what? I think with where the game's at now, I don't. It's there's so many different things on variables, I should say, on how things are done with the game internally. And you're talking about the front office, from the president to the GM down through your analytics, through the clubhouse. And so I think players, they tolerate or understand, a comment like that a little bit more. I personally, if I'm managing, I would have to, bring them in and talk about it. But you know where the game's changed probably as much as anything along that line. Players today have, they have a lot more say than back when we played. I mean, Dick Williams right out the lineup. It wasn't like you had, a chance to influence him, whatever. But now, that lineup is kind of scripted, or players have a little bit more say, or even the training staff or baseball analytics. This guy needs a day off. It's about load management, things like that. So, and the manager's job, the leadership part of it has changed a little bit. You don't have that autocracy as much as you used to. Where now it's more of a selling than a telling, I guess is what I'm saying. Where you were told you were this or you were going to play here or there, but you got to sell it a little bit with the players. I've used this example, and Dave Roberts knows it. When he pinch hit one time for Utley had never been pinch hit for, and with the lefty in there, and sure enough, after he pulled him back and hit for him, he went and sat down by Utley and talked to him. Well, that never happened to us. The manager he just made a move, and that was it. And if you didn't like it, then you probably were sent down or traded.
Well, you were a manager when some of the rules that have been implemented into Major League Baseball have been kind of changed around. But I think there's going to be 3 that are going to be brought into the game next year via the last collective bargaining agreement. And I want to hear what your thoughts are on, the pitch clock, I think, is good. I'm sure you'll agree with that. What about the bigger bases? I think that rule is going to be implemented. And what is your feeling on that?
Well, on your first point, I love the clock. Absolutely love it. I was in Las Vegas watching our Sacramento team play Las Vegas, which is Oakland's AAA team, and it kept the game moving. It just, especially you're in a town like Vegas where the scores are 12-11, whatever, but they were playing under 3 hours. So the clock, I think, is going to be very popular. Although I don't think the Players Association is going to go for 14 seconds, which is what they use in AAA. I think they're going to want more time, maybe like 20 seconds. I wish they'd keep it at 14. It just kept things moving. On the other point of bases, I don't get the bases personally. I think we're definitely overdoing this one. They talk about it being safer or getting you closer to second base is still in the base or third base. We played a lot of years with those regular bases. I never had any trouble with them. I don't think it's going to make a difference. I don't think we're going to notice. We're certainly not going to go to a game and go, man, how about those bigger bases? Boy, that was different. You're just not going to hear that.
I would have stole 300 more bases and hit 300 if the bases would have been bigger.
Yeah.
Man, I got robbed.
Yeah. Well, Dick would have given you the green light. Yeah.
Yeah, you and I didn't have too many green lights.
No.
Now, what about the shift?
Yeah.
The
shift, my feeling on that was always the onus should be on the hitter. I don't understand how a major league hitter, cannot handle bat well enough to beat the shift. I just think, he should be able to. But the problem you're having is they're not even trying. They're figuring out, well, it's still worth it to try to do damage and hit the ball out of the ballpark versus beating the shift. I mean, you watch the game. Sometimes you see a team 3 or 4 runs down in their shift, and I'm going, are you kidding me? We're not going to try to get on base any way we can. I will say the Giants, they'll try to beat it. They're doing a pretty good job of it. But I think for the most part in baseball, they still have that philosophy. Let's do damage. But what I would do with it, well, it's getting to a point where you almost need a little bit more action. I do think between the strikeouts and the walks, there's not enough action in our game. So if that's going to help bring out a few hits or keep them out of the outfield at least, I've kind of gotten tired the third baseman jogging out to, right field. That's another part that's slowing up the game. And so I would be okay with stopping the ship, but I still don't get why players or teams don't try to beat it more.
I will give you credit for the players up in San Francisco trying to beat it at times, because you had two guys up there, Brandon Belt and Crawford, that people shifted against those two guys as much as anybody else in the league. And those were two guys that if they were down 2 or 3 runs and they were leading off an inning, there was an opportunity for them to lay it down. They're going to do it. Even
Right.
Brandon Belt, which surprised me quite a few times, and he was successful at it.
Right. And I tell you what, Belt was the worst bunter I've ever seen in baseball. And Flan, worked with him too, and he broke a finger trying to bunt. But to his credit, he never gave up. He kept working at it, and he's at a point where he'll lay one down. The only problem with Brandon Belt is sometimes he'll do it 3-0. You go, wait a minute, we're going too far with this now. But no, they will. That whole team will. Longo, he'll go the other way. A lot of them, when they can handle the bat a little bit.
What about how much the San Francisco Giants miss Buster Posey this year?
Well, you're going to miss one of the best players in the game. In every facet of the game. First of all, you're going to miss him behind the plate. This guy, we brought him up in 2010. I think we brought him up at the end of May 29th, in fact. And, here's a rookie. It was Johnny Bench-like. He led us to the 2010 World Series. So his game calling, handling the staff, that they're going to miss. His throwing, he's an outstanding thrower. He blocks the ball well. He's just a smart base runner. But of course, you're going to miss a guy that hits in the heart of the order. And there's not a better clutch hitter in the game. You need a big hit because, he just can get the bat on the ball. Kurt, he reminded me a little bit of Tony Gwynn. He was my best hit and run guy. His bat stayed in that zone a long time, and he just had, more power, and he got great carry to the ball, but he could handle the bat. So, yeah, you're going to miss him everywhere. And in the clubhouse, I should mention.
Yeah, I think that's a big factor also. It's, the Giants have kind of turned around from the beginning of the year, but I look for them to, of course, they've got a big series this weekend again, and it's always a big series when they play the Los Angeles Dodgers. But those guys are creeping up on the San Diego Padres, so the Padres have to be careful. And the Giants always play the Padres tough when they come into town. Before I let you go, because I know you've got a schedule going on here, let me ask you about expansion. I know that you've got a few friends and you're still in the game. What are you hearing about expansion and the possibilities of it happening in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to happen next couple of years. It sounds like it could be a year or two past that. Like we're looking at maybe around 4 years, somewhere in there. I think right now their priority is to get Oakland and Tampa situated. They're figuring out what Oakland's going to do. They're getting close to getting the ballpark there, but is that going to fall through? Tampa, they're going to build a park in St. Pete or Tampa, and you even hear Orlando, but. I think they want to get them situated. I don't think they want to move them, try to move them to expansion city, let's say where I'm at, Nashville, because that's a big ticket. Whoever gets that expansion, you're talking probably $2.5 billion somewhere in there. So it's not far down the road, but I think 2 years might be a little soon. But also I'll add to. It's going to be a good race down the road. Giants played better at the end, and their starting pitching is outstanding. It's, those guys are on the roll now. They got 2 number ones, and this could be a good series. In LA, this be good for them.
Well, I tell you what, Webb's throwing the ball as good as I've seen him throw the ball in quite a few years. So he's a guy that they can really rely on when he takes the mound. And you're right, they do have some other pitchers that are able to go out there and shut teams down. Plus, and this is the most important thing, the Giants know how to pitch to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I know that you had a lot to do with that, and it's carried over to what's going on in that clubhouse today. But that's also an important factor. There's teams that pitch the Dodgers entirely different than the way the San Francisco Giants do, and it blows my mind that happens in the game today.
Yeah, well, I mean, for the most part, it's experienced staff, but it's a staff with a lot of confidence and no fear, and that's part of the problem, I think, when a lot of teams play the Dodgers pitchers. I think there's a little fear factor in there, but there's none with the Giants starters. They're men, and I really think they're going to have a good second half.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch. Hey, Boach, I appreciate you checking in with us. It was good to see you. You and I will talk again soon. Take care of yourself. Say hello to everybody for me, and continued success. I'm glad to hear your feelings. When you go out there and shoot your first, let's say, 82, then give me a call and I'll come and play with you.
Yeah. I don't have a job now. I get low on money. I'll give you a call. But Dirty, no, thanks for having me on. It was great to see you. You look great. And I'll be in San Diego here soon, so I'll give you a call.
Yeah, let's do that. I'd love to get together with you. Nice shirt, by the way. Giant orange.
Yeah.
Hey, they're playing the Dodgers tonight. You know who I'm rooting for, so I don't even need to say it. Everybody out there does. Hey, take care of yourself. I miss you, buddy. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me. We'll see you.
All right. You got it.
Okay.
Bruce Bochy, always good to hear from the skipper. This is Dirty Kurt's Dugout. I'm Kurt Bavacqua. I want to thank the folks out at Hacienda Casablanca. Have supported us all along. I saw a couple of minutes ago that Cindy's in New York. I don't know if Tony's there with her, but she might be on a buying trip. We're sure fortunate to have a place like that here in San Diego. It's out a little bit in East County, 700 North Johnson. But if you want great Mexican food and good people to sit around, go out there and tell Cindy and Tony that Joe and I sent you. And also Tom Drake, our friend down at Lacima Oil, who supports us with some gas cards to give out to you folks. And by the way, do we have Joe, or if you're able to come on, go ahead and jump in. Did we not get an address to send Tammy? And,
no, we didn't. I never got an email or a message or anything.
We got to follow up on that because they want
Tammy and Matt Schobert.
Correct. Yeah, Tammy and Matt. I think they're downtown. I think Matt is a former fire chief here in San Diego, and I just kind of look at things on social media. So I believe for some reason that's what he did, but it doesn't even matter. We need them to get back in touch with us. So send me a private message, or Joe a private message on social media so we can get this here card out to you. And it's worth $100, and they want it. And we need, I know Tom Drake is on a little family vacation trip right now, some that he does quite often. But just the same, I know that he's on a cruise ship somewhere, so I'm not going to bug him with sending me a few more of those cards. And one of the other things that we're going to have for you, and this bottle is like magic. I don't want to go overboard with it because I don't know the proper things to say right now. And it's one of the reasons that I'm not introducing it to you yet. But I will tell you one thing, folks. I twisted my knee bowling a couple of years ago, and it started bugging me. it got to the point where it was painful for me to play golf. And it was because of me bowling. I got some N8, and it's N8. And I put it on my knee, and 2 days later, the pain was gone. Well, guess what? It's going to be available to you very soon. It was just sitting here, and I had to say something. We've been going on for a couple of weeks on this thing. We finally put it together, and I'm going to pass it on to you because it is a super product. It really is. Doing the website, making sure the links are correct, making sure you can get to it and get the deal that I want for my listeners. That's what it's all about. So let's get back to baseball here. In my view, the next 2 to 3 weeks are going to be the most important part of the 2022 season for the San Diego Padres here in San Diego. And it's not just because there's a possibility of Tatis coming back within the next couple of weeks. Will Myers is on the heel. He's playing games up in Lake Elsinore. Maury Hone's back. He threw great the last time out. And it's certainly not because of the August 2nd trade deadline. It's because of the games that are on the schedule. The Padres are in New York right now. Start a 3-game series tomorrow against the Mets. We all know the Mets are playing good baseball. And the Padres are going to face some good pitching. As a matter of fact, tomorrow night, they go up against Max Scherzer. And we know what a bulldog he is on the mound. They go from there to interleague play, which interleague play is starting to bug me. And if you're a fan of interleague play, if you wanted to see players from other teams, get over it. You can see players from other teams in the postseason. I hate interleague play. I think it takes away from the league's games that should be played. And at the end of the year, I don't want the San Diego Padres playing the Detroit Tigers. I want them playing a team in their division where it makes a difference on whether they win the division, lose the division, or get into a wild card spot or don't get into a wild card spot. But they're playing the Tigers. They follow up there. And then they're back home against the Twins. More interleague. I've never really talked about this before. And you folks don't know that I'm so against interleague play. But I think you're going to find out why I am this year if you look at the games that the San Diego Padres have, the San Francisco Giants have, when they need to have games to catch up on the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're not there to be found. And it's because of all the interleague games. They've gone a little bit too far. Getting back to the Padres schedule, after the Twins are in town for 3 games, then the Lions then comes into town. And the Lions then right now is the Colorado Rockies, even though the San Diego Padres can't beat the Los Angeles Dodgers. They just can't. It's almost like they take the field with their tail between their legs and they expect to get it beaten. And then you look on the other side of the field and the Dodgers are just happy with the game being tied in the 6th, 7th inning because they're waiting for something to happen. The Padres are wondering what happened at the end of the game. So let's take a look at the wild card. And then I want to get to the prices of what it costs for a family of 4 to go to a Major League Baseball game. But the wild card thing, are you going to put it up, Joe, or am I just going to go with where we are with the wild card?
I just didn't know which league you wanted first.
You can do whichever one you want, big fella.
Well, let's start off with the American League.
Okay. let's take a look at the wild card. That is the wild card standing. So we know the division leaders in each division, of course, are the New York Yankees, the Minnesota Twins, and the Houston Astros. Now, here comes the wild card teams: Tampa Bay, Seattle, and Toronto. The Boston Red Sox are 2 games back. I tell you what, this is going to be fun stuff, because you look halfway down the list, and yeah, you see the Baltimore Orioles. Do you remember how bad they were at the beginning of the year? They're only 3.5 games back of a wild card spot in the American League. I got to tell you, I'm almost rooting for them to get into the playoffs. I really am. I would love it. I expected the Cleveland Guardians to get in. I expected the Boston Red Sox to get in. I didn't expect the Seattle Mariners to get in. And I thought the Tampa Bay Rays were going to struggle this year, but they're not. They're finding ways to win, and they're continuing to win baseball games. The team that really has a question mark around it, to me, are the Toronto Blue Jays. I think they should be much better than 7 games over 500, and they're not. Now, going to the National League, we all know what it's like here on the West Coast. In the National League West, we've got the Los Angeles Dodgers that are 10 games in front of the second place San Diego Padres. Wow. Just a couple of weeks ago, that was only a game and a half. So it goes to prove how quickly things can turn around. But I don't know if the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to go on an extended losing streak. It just seems like when they take the field, they're waiting and knowing something is going to happen. They know that a pitcher is going to make a mistake, and that one of their guys, even if it's a solo shot, is going to hit a home run. I say give up those solo home runs to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Don't give up 3-run home runs to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Because when they get in front of you, they start pouncing on you. They don't give you any room to breathe. And that's the one thing about that team that I will applaud them for. You stay close to the Dodgers, you got a chance to beat them. If you let them get out 4, 5, 6 runs in the lead, you're not going to beat them. That's all there is to it. You're not going to. So big surprises here are the Phillies. The Braves, the way they started, even though if you go back to the beginning of the season, all the experts would have told you they're going to be in the race somewhere. Everybody expected the San Diego Padres, and right now it is the Braves and Padres. And then you've got the Phillies and the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals, perennial winners. They're always going to field a baseball team that's got a chance to beat you. And the Phillies struggled a little bit. Again, one of those teams that went back at the beginning of the year and really struggled. And now they're starting to play some pretty good baseball. So you know what? Going back to what Boat said, it's going to be a fun second half of the baseball season. And then you go to the trades, if any. What teams are going to make big deals before the August 2nd trading deadline? You remember I said the Lions then. I used that terminology because after the Twins are here for 3 days, after this current road trip, the 6-game road trip that the Padres are on, they have a day off, and then they come back in and play the Twins for 3. And then they play the Colorado Rockies for 5. 5 games in 4 days. Things haven't been good when the San Diego Padres have faced the Colorado Rockies. So on the day of the trading deadline, the Padres and the Rockies have a doubleheader. And that's all caused by the beginning of the season lockout, where the beginning of the season, the Padres and the Rockies were on the National League schedule for playing a lot of games against each other. Well, the first 2 weeks of the season was called off. But those games, it was agreed upon by both the Players Association and Major League Baseball that they would be made up. Well, guess what? They're being made up. All right. So the Padres and the Rockies have an August 2nd doubleheader to go along with the game on the 1st, the game on the 3rd, and the game on the 4th. Single games. So there you have it. The report from Boch. He's not expecting expansion to happen anytime soon. And even though I didn't put him on the spot, I know Boch is talking to the folks in Nashville. And those folks are led by, or one of the leaders is Smoke Stewart, Dave Stewart, former Major League pitcher, who is trying to organize a purchasing group there. As a matter of fact, I think he's got it put together. But like Boat said, it takes somewhere between $2.5 and $4 billion for an expansion team to get up and running. A lot of money. And it's got to be there. MLB has got to see it in order for them to award the franchise. I mean, just the fee alone is $1.5 billion, I think. That's crazy. The expansion fee is $1 billion. What? Woo! How the game's changed. All right. Well, we're back on Thursday again next week. So let's take in this week of baseball after the All-Star game. I'm actually going to watch the San Francisco Giant game tonight. There's no Padre game. So I'm going to watch the Dodgers and the Giants. So I hope you all, your team wins, whoever that might be, just as long as they're not playing my team. I'm not even going to tell you what my team is. You think you know, but you might not. So next week, I appreciate everybody that watched the show, that made comments. Thank you to Karen Beth and, of course, producer Joe is always here by my side. Thank you to George Seda. George, how are you, buddy? Haven't seen your name in a little while. I know Daryl Cheney was in early, and Kevin was here. Terrence, as usual, was in on the broadcast. And a special thanks to Cindy and Tony out at Hacienda, where if you want a cold margarita and a great wet burrito, Joe turned me on to that. I didn't know what a wet burrito was. I just ordered a burrito. He goes, order a wet burrito. I go, there's no wet burrito on the menu. He goes, they'll make it for you. Okay. So it worked. Boy, was it good. So if you order a wet burrito, tell him Joe sent you. Don't tell him I did, because I think it's a little bit of a pain. But they'll do it for you out there. Cindy and Tony, thank you for your support. And Tom Drake, have yourself a good vacation, buddy, and we'll talk to you when you get back. And I will talk to all of you. It's Kurt Bavacqua saying goodbye for now from Dirty Kurt's Dugout. I'm so glad Bruce Bochy got to join us on the Pine this week. I'll try to schedule somebody for this week, and next week, and I'll be letting you all know who it's going to be. So until then, goodbye, everybody.